Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I'm Stephanie Lazarus and here are your headlines. Second phase of recording evidence on missing persons commences in Batticaloa. Corruption is a part of democracy, a statement by Minister Rajitha Senaratne. Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says that there is a shortage of furnace oil in Sri Lanka. Weather alert: possibility of wind speeds in the coastal areas reaching up to 80 kilometers per hour. And on sports first, national badminton champion Nilukar Karnaratne out of the Sri Lanka International Challenge 2014. Well, those were your headlines. Let's now cross over to the main desk for a more comprehensive look at these stories.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for bringing us tonight's headlines. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Sonali Vanigabadagay. Let's start off first with a look at today's top stories. Newsfirst has won several awards at the Raikam Telly Awards ceremony, which is currently underway at the BMICH.
The Gum at the Program, produced by Newsfirst, received a special jury award. The Gum at the Program is a novel initiative by Newsfirst to bring together people and decision makers onto one platform and have the people's grievances responded instantly. Previous Gum at the Programs focused on wide-ranging issues including the human-elephant conflict, problems related to fishing, farming and the indigenous community. Meanwhile, the Muhuna to Muhuna program, produced by Newsfirst, bagged the award for the best political discussion program at the Raigam Telly Awards. The program was produced by Newsfirst Nadika Vijayvira and was hosted by Susil Kindelapitiya.
And on to one of our headline stories. The Presidential Commission to inquire into complaints of missing persons commenced a second round of recording statements in the Batticaloa district today in Kathankudi. The Commission's Secretary H.W. Gunadasa says that 59 persons were invited to give evidence before the Commission today. The Secretary added that 49 persons appeared before the Commission.
The hearing of evidence was held at the auditorium of the Kathankudi Pradesha Sabha under the auspices of the Chairman of the Presidential Commission to inquire into complaints on missing persons, Maxwell Parakuma Paranagama. Commission members Manu Ramanathan and Suranjana Vidyaratna were also present. The Secretary to the Commission, H.W. Gunadasa, said that in addition to those invited to give evidence, 16 persons filed fresh complaints. Family members of persons reported missing post-1980 gave evidence before the Commission today. The Commission Secretary noted that several persons gave evidence on the Kurukal Madam incident in 1990.
My husband went missing in July 1990. He left to attend to business in Kalmune in the morning. When he was returning, the LTTE terrorists accosted him and took him into the jungle in Kurukal Madam. When I made inquiries, I heard that he had been killed. My son went missing. His name was Abdul Aziz. I'm a resident of New Kathankudi. He disappeared on the 7th of December 1990 in Kurukal Madam.
The Commission will hear evidence in Kathankudi tomorrow as well before moving to Manmunai Patru Divisional Secretariat, where evidence will be heard on the 8th and 9th. The Commission recorded evidence on prior occasions in Kilinochchi, Jaffna and Batticaloa.
Corruption is a part of democracy, at least according to Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, the Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Development. The SLFP's chief organizer in the Berual electorate made this statement at an event held in Colombo today.
Now even you take corruption, India and Sri Lanka, we are very famous for that. And China, they have corruption. They take very strict actions. They have already, I think, imprisoned even very high profile members of the Communist Party, members of government. They are in prison. They have given death sentence to corruption, but not in our countries. But still we say we have democracy. And we have to actually consider what is true democracy. The true democracy is for people or for governors like us. Sometimes we have one rule in this country, but one rule for the people. Even our police officers know very well whether they can take action against me as easy as they take some action against one side. Difficult. But in China, it's the same. Whether you are anybody, the next day, if he is caught with some malpractice, he will be punished severely. The Indian development is lethargic because of the democracy. Even it's the same in Sri Lanka.
In other words, corruption.
Yeah, corruption is part of democracy.
The event was held to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Sri Lanka-China Friendship Society at the Lakshman Kadirogama Institute for International Relations and Strategic Studies in Colombo today. Dignitaries from the China People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries were also present at the occasion.
The Department of Meteorology says that the southwestern monsoon is becoming active over Sri Lanka. The department is forecasting increased rainfall in southwestern parts of the island from today until the 9th of June. The Met Department warns that while strong winds may be experienced over these areas, sea areas off the coast from Mannar to Pothuwil via Colombo and Galle could be rough with wind speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour.
We
are expecting rains over the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces as well as in the Galle and Matharu districts. There is also a possibility of rain over the north-western province. Constant thunder showers can be expected in the sea areas off the western and southern coasts. Southwesterly winds with gusts of up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour could be expected. We have informed the fishing and naval community to be vigilant in this regard.
Meanwhile, the landslide warning for the Kaluthara, Galle, Ratnapura, Kegalle and Nuwara districts has been extended by a further 24 hours.
Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipilli, says the residents of these districts should exercise caution if further rains are experienced in the area. He added that people in areas identified as being at risk of landslides and earth slips should exercise extreme caution.
119,498 people from 29,200 families have been affected by the extreme weather conditions. The Disaster Management Centre says that 18,885 people from 4,498 families are being sheltered at 89 temporary shelters at present. The DMC adds that while 232 homes have been destroyed, a further 1,534 homes have been damaged. Meanwhile, the death toll from incidents caused by the extreme weather conditions has now risen to 26.
While several areas in the Kaluthara district continue to be inundated as a result of the Kaluganga breaking its banks, our cameras captured footage of areas which were submerged by 9 feet of floodwater. The DMC says that 66,084 people from 15,834 families have been affected in the district. 103 homes have been destroyed while 345 homes have sustained damages in the Kaluthara district. 14 deaths have been reported from the Kaluthara district, with the body of a man who was washed away by floodwaters being recovered last evening. He has been identified as 38-year-old Surya Arachige Nishanta, a resident of Urutudwava in Horana. He went missing on the 4th when he was washed away by floodwaters while leading cattle to a paddock. In some areas, our camera captured footage of the relief effort that is underway with both government and private institutions distributing cooked food and dry rations to the affected populace. However, our correspondents say that as many areas remain inundated, this is hampering the relief effort. The cortege of a man who was killed in the extreme weather was transported to the cemetery by boat in Valpita, Horana as a result of the road being submerged. Meanwhile, a youth was killed when he was washed away by floodwaters in the Agal Oya area in Bulat Sinhala. Our reporter says that he fell into the water while attempting to navigate the floodwaters using banana tree trunks as a makeshift raft.
The deceased has been identified as K. Ranjit Kumara, a 24-year-old resident of the area. While floodwaters have begun to recede in the area, our cameras captured footage of the cleanup operations underway in several homes. Several homes in the Thudugal area in Dodang. Meanwhile, about 17 homes in Gongin Thota Vattala remain inundated. The affected populace are being sheltered at a school in the area. Residents of the Yabaraluwe area in Malwana had begun cleaning their homes. Garbage that had been dumped in the area had been washed into their homes by the floodwaters. Area residents charged that the waste emanated from apparel factories in the area.
We reported to the police on this emanated waste from the factories. However, no steps have been taken to resolve this issue. The spread of dengue in our area is also at its peak.
Public health inspectors warn that there is a risk of contagious diseases spreading in areas that were affected by the flooding. PHIs urge the public to exercise caution when using water in these areas.
Speaking of diseases, the epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health notes that 12,207 dengue patients have been reported thus far this year. Meanwhile, 4,473 patients have been reported from the Colombo district, 1,997 patients have been reported from the Gampaha district. The Centre for the Clinical Management of Dengue and Dengue Hemorrhagic Fever at the Negombo District General Hospital, the only one of its kind in the country, has been inundated with patients. Dr. Champa Jayanta Alutwira, the medical superintendent at the hospital, says that 406 patients suspected to have dengue are being treated at the hospital.
The medical superintendent at the Negombo District General Hospital says that while the number of patients being admitted to wards 3, 4 and 8 of the hospital on a daily basis has spiked in recent days, the majority of these patients are suspected to have contracted dengue. Dr. Alutwira says that patients in critical condition are being treated at the Centre for the Clinical Management of Dengue and Dengue Hemorrhagic Fever.
Patients in critical condition are being treated here. Patients from all corners of the country come to us for treatment. This includes adults, not only children. Owing to the commitment and unique patient treatment effort of specialist pediatrician Dr. Lakkumara Fernando, we have been able to cure all dengue patients who have come here for treatment.
The Centre for the Clinical Management of Dengue and Dengue Hemorrhagic Fever can only treat 17 patients at a time.
The number of dengue patients has increased. At present, we have 17 beds and they are all full. Since not all patients who are admitted can be brought here, we admit them to the wards and those in critical condition are brought here to our unit. Even when there is no rain, there are sporadic causes for dengue and they all come here and fill up our wards. During the same time last year, we treated about 2,000 dengue patients.
While numerous patients are being treated in the male, female and pediatric wards of the hospital, our camera also captured footage of patients having to share beds. I am wasting away with no medicine. I have no bed and nowhere to sleep. We try to sleep on the chairs. Doctors say that owing to the shortage of staff, it is difficult to manage the treatment of patients.
Ceylon Petroleum Corporation trade unions note that there is a shortage of furnace oil. They charge that this could have a significant impact on power generation as well as the activities of various industries.
We received reports that the CPC had not been able to meet the furnace oil demands of the country. Furnace oil is mainly used for power generation in thermal power plants and is also used to run boilers used in other industries. This is the manner in which a number of browsers that arrived to collect furnace oil remained on the roads this morning. When inquired, Managing Director of the CPC, Susanta De Silva, accepted that there is a shortage of furnace oil. He noted that the shortage was caused by a number of factors, including the high demand of furnace oil by power plants due to the drop in hydro power generation.
The crude oil that we have been using had the less quality, less property for the production of the sulfur oil. And also there was a small delay in one of our shipments, and it has now arrived, so there won't be any problem of issuing heavy oil, and everything has been now settled, and there won't be any issue.
And on to news from Parliament. JVP leader MP Anura Kumar Disanayake questioned Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Sarath Amunugama in Parliament today on the various allegations that are being levelled at the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance and Planning. Let's take a look at some excerpts.
මුදල් අමාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්තුමා පිළිබඳව
With regard to the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, ministers from your cabinet have put forward various allegations at various occasions. They have called him an economic assassin and have said that he should be brought to the Gaulface Green and hung. Minister S.B. Disanayake has come forward in defence. As the Minister of Finance, what is your stance on the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance?
මුදල් අමාත්‍යවරයා හැටියට තමුන්නාන්සේගේ මතය කුමක්ද? ඔහු ඝාතකයේද?
මගේ මතේ එක එක්කෙනා කියන දේවල් අපි පිළිගන්නේ නැහැ.
දැන් මේ එක එක්කෙනා නෙවෙයි මේ.
These are not various persons, these are members of your cabinet.
මේ ගමේ පුංචි බණ්ඩ කිව්වට කමක් නැහැ. මේ මුදල් අමාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්තුමානේ.
This is the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance. He has presented many reports to this Parliament. Reports compiled by this person who has been called an economic assassin and who persons say should be hung are here on this table. Thereby, the actual government stance should be stated. I wish to ask of you what the government stance is.
Honourable Member, as per our constitution, secretaries are appointed by His Excellency the President. If you are speaking good or ill or are criticising the appointee, then you must put this forward to His Excellency the President who made the appointment. He has the power to make a decision on it. As far as I know, he has not made any decision.
You are teaching Parliament the lesson that you should be teaching in Cabinet.
If this Parliament has any problem with that, they should take it up with the responsible minister.
United National Party parliamentarian Ashok Abesinghe questioned in Parliament today whether the government had transformed its Matata Titha policy. Senior Minister Dr. Sarath Amunugama responded.
The bottle of liquor too has been removed from the Colombo Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation. I wish to ask you if you have removed the Matata Titha program from the Mahinda Chintanaya and replaced it with Tithata Mata. From 2005 to now, 242 liquor licenses have been issued. Are these liquor licenses being issued owing to the rise in alcohol production through the ethanol that is being brought down?
Following the end of the war, Sri Lanka is once again becoming one of the best tourist centres in the world. It has become a tourist centre and we are receiving a major income from it. Our income last year was $1 billion. How many factors affiliated with the tourist industry are transpiring here? We cannot close our eyes and act as if we are blind to this, can we? There are thousands today and we have been made to issue licenses for some of these. Because in truth, foreign tourists cannot be brought to this country without alcohol. They come here on leisure trips. When they come on leisure, they want to go to the beach and have a drink. You are well aware of this. This prevails in Arab countries too. It is our despondent belief that you cannot devise a falsely enlarged separate argument from this. You can get onto a stage and say what you want, but this is our opinion. As we mentioned earlier in the bulletin, Newsfirst has won several awards at the Raigam Tele Awards ceremony, which is currently underway at the BMICH. The Gum at the Programme, produced by Newsfirst, received a special jury award. The Gum at the Programme is a novel initiative by Newsfirst to bring together people and decision makers onto one platform and have the people's grievances responded to instantly. Previous Gum at the Programmes focused on wide-ranging issues, including the human-elephant conflict, problems related to the fisheries industry, farming and the indigenous community. Meanwhile, the Muhuna to Muhuna program, produced by Newsfirst, bagged the award for the best political discussion program at the Raigam Tele Awards. The program was produced by Newsfirst's Nadika Vijayveera and was hosted by Susil Kindaipitia.
The 110th birth anniversary of late Professor N.M. Pereira, a veteran politician, is marked today.
The commemoration ceremony of Professor N.M. Pereira was held opposite his statue located in Rajagiriya with the participation of several dignitaries including senior ministers.
Professor N.M. Pereira worked relentlessly to eradicate ethnic and caste conflicts in the society. The battle is yet to be completed. People who envision the same should share the same responsibility of fulfilling his vision. We can stave off all the problems in the international fora if we successfully complete the task of N.M. Pereira. We who are on the governing side continue to fulfill that task.
දන්නවා එන්එම් සහෝදරයා මේ රටට සමාජවාදය ගෙනාපු ඒ මූලික පුරෝගාමීන්.
We all know that N.M. Pereira was the pioneering figure who introduced socialism. This left-wing leader is very different to the left-wing leaders that we witness today. This great individual introduced socialism to combat the gap between the haves and the have-nots. He is a leader who sacrificed everything. Many workers may have forgotten N.M. Pereira now. If there is some sort of social justice and equality today, it is because great leaders such as N.M. Pereira secured it for us.
සමාජ සාධාරණත්වයක් මේ රටේ තිබෙනවා නම් ඒ සම්පූර්ණ සමාජ සාධාරණත්වය මෙවැනි ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ නායකයින්ගෙන් ලබාගත දේ නිසා.
The chairman of the University Grants Commission, Professor Shanika Herumburegama, notes that a group of university lecturers and a group of misguided students are attempting to destroy the entire university system.
The Future Minds 2014 Education and Career Guidance Exhibition commenced today at the BMICH in Colombo under the auspices of Minister of Education, Bandula Gunawardana.
For many years. දරුවන් ඊටාම වැදගත් තැන් වලින් එන අය ආවට පස්සේ මනස අවුල් කරනවා අපේ ඉන්නවා කනගාටුයි කියන්න අධ්‍යයන.
Our children come from good family backgrounds. However, there are groups that distort their mindset when they enter university. There are 1 or 2 lecturers among this as well. 99.99% of the lecturers are okay when a student does something wrong. He's suspended. They in turn put up a stage and protest. They eat and drink very well, but they don't study. Children sitting on the roads is not a big thing, but we should fix our system. Only a limited amount of students engage in such acts. Take the Colombo University where I served earlier as an example. There are over 11,000 students, however, only around 10 children from one faculty engage in such acts. 2 lecturers in this faculty are attempting to use these children to remove the Vice Chancellor. Can they accomplish such a thing? These children could have studied well. They have been misled.
Newsfirst screen test also took place today in line with the Future Minds exhibition.
A program titled English for Lawyers was launched last evening in Colombo by the Faiza Mustafa Foundation. Speaking at the event, Deputy Minister of Investment Promotion Faiza Mustafa said that certain lawyers are restricted in their profession because of the lack of knowledge in English.
The chief guest of the event to launch English for Lawyers was Attorney General Palita Fernando.
Because today, you cannot be a good lawyer or you cannot practice law without being able to communicate in English. All new law reports are in English and all material are in English. Today we see some lawyers restricted to the original codes, to the Magistrates Court and District Court, because they lack the knowledge of English. I seek the support from all of you all to create this change, and that change I'm sure we can achieve with the support of all of us.
Practicing courts is one thing. Today the bar is full. There is hardly any room for lawyers to come out and practice in the courts. But what is available is employment in the private sector. Enormous amount of jobs are available in the private sector for qualified, well-spoken, confident, young lawyers. So it's very important for you to understand how important it is to learn English to get a job, to learn English to fulfill the potential of your profession.
You need not take my word. We will not provide anything in writing to any one of those persons.
What are your views on Minister S.B. Dissanayaka's statement? Are you in agreement or do you think it was uncalled for? Have your say by visiting our official Facebook page, facebook.com/newsfirst.english, and join the conversation. Now, several grisly murders were reported from different parts of the island. Crime Watch has the details.
The remains of a woman was discovered with lacerations on her throat in a shrubbery area in close proximity to the Gampala hospital. According to the police, the deceased has been identified as 32-year-old Patyage Jivanti, a resident of Valimada. She had been employed at a private firm which takes care of patients. Police media spokesperson SSV Ajit Tovana notes that the murder is suspected to have taken place while she was returning to her temporary residence in Gampala this morning. Meanwhile, an individual was found unconscious close to the location where the victim was discovered. The police noted that the individual had consumed a poisonous substance. A knife, cell phone, a bag of clothes as well as a sarong was discovered by the police. Chief Magistrate and District Judge of Gampala Upul Rajakaruna carried out the post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, human remains were discovered in the Diyawanna Oya near the Singhapalama area in Battaramulla. According to the police, the remains belong to a 28-year-old resident of Talangama. The victim's parents note that he had gone out with his friends for a party last night and had not returned thereafter.
Train services along the upcountry railway line continue to be restricted to Bandarawela. Train services have been restricted following an earth slip and rock slide that was experienced in the 280th kilometers post area between Dimodara and Uduvara.
Work continues to take place to clear debris from the railway track. The railway control room notes that railway employees have been assigned to carry out repair work on the railway track. Officials state that work is progressing at a slow pace due to the location of the incident, as a number of houses are located downhill from where the incident took place. The officials added that the track will be cleared in 3 days' time. Train services were initially restricted on the upcountry railway line on the 20th of last month. Nearly 30 feet of railway track were covered in debris from the earth slip and rock slide. When the incident was first reported, officials estimated that the track could be cleared in 3 days.
The determination in the case filed at the Supreme Court pertaining to a mother and a daughter who were arrested in Kilinochchi without detention orders has been postponed to the 27th of this month. The case was filed by Balendra Jayakumari, a resident of Kilinochchi, and her 15-year-old daughter Balendra Vibhushika. The mother and the daughter were arrested on the 13th of March in connection with providing lodging for an individual connected to the LTTE. The plaintiffs had filed the case at the Supreme Court on the 7th of last month, citing that their fundamental rights had been violated through the arrest. Balendra Jayakumari is currently being detained at the Busa detention camp, while her daughter Balendra Vibhushika is in probationary care. The counsel appearing on behalf of the petitioner had requested that the detention orders that are yet to be presented to court be presented. However, the State Counsel representing the Attorney General's Department requested court to postpone proceedings of the case as he was unable to attend court proceedings. Hearings of the case were postponed till the 27th of this month.
The second phase of the DSRA Student Circle, launched by Newsfirst and Eslon Lanka Private Limited, began at the DSN Anayaka Central College in Mirigama.
The aim of this student circle is to promote the conservation of water through student activities and to identify varying water issues. The student circle consists of 40 students from one school. The Newsfirst and Eslon officials who arrived at the DSN Anayaka Central College in Mirigama received a warm welcome.
Through the second phase of this program, we will be conducting such events in 5 other locations which are geographically different. Once we gather the projects of all 6 schools, an expert panel will review them and select which project is most effective. Eslon Lanka Private Limited will aid in setting up these programs.
ඒ ව්‍යාපෘතිය කර ගැනීම සඳහා ඒ ව්‍යාපෘතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම සඳහා එස්ලෝන් ලංකා පුද්ගලික සමාගම ඔබට සහාය වෙනවා.
Students of the DSRA Student Circle are faced with the challenge of drawing up a project proposal to manage the water issues in their respective schools within 2 weeks.
රටේ මේ පරිසරය බාර දීලා තියෙන
It is the older generation that is engaged in destroying the environment. They call themselves the guardians of the environment. The hearts and minds of these children are very pure. It is easy to feed something good into a heart and mind that is pure. If there are no unwanted things in our heads, then it is easy for us to gather many good things. I am here at the end of this program is not to implement just another project. We want to create people who will stand for the protection of environment in society. That is what we expect from these children.
A special guest lecture was delivered by Rohini University lecturer M.M. S.A. Marasinghe.
There are 103 rivers in our country. However, 2/3 of our country does not have water, or in other words, it experiences arid weather conditions. That is why we should discuss this issue. This issue is important to you because it is the future generation that will be facing this issue and not us. That is why you need to be aware of these issues.
Certificates were presented to the members of the Diyasara Student Circle.
World Blood Donors Day will be commemorated on the 14th of June, with the main global event to mark the occasion being hosted by Sri Lanka. A cultural parade organised in view of the 11th World Blood Donors Day celebrations to be held in Sri Lanka commenced its journey in Kandy today.
While Blood Donors Week was proclaimed the day before yesterday, parallel to World Blood Donors Day, as a token of appreciation for blood donors across the country, several cultural parades commenced in Jaffna, Trincomalee, Hambantota and Batticaloa. The cultural parade, which commenced in Trincomalee the day before yesterday, arrived in Kandy yesterday. The parade recommenced its journey at Mahamaluwa in Kandy today under the auspices of the Governor of the Central Province, Tikiriko Bekaduwa. MTV, MBC and Newsfirst are the media sponsors of the program.
Court ordered today that the assets of former Deputy Commissioner of the Inland Revenue Department, A. Jnanasiri Disoisa Jayatilaka, who pleaded guilty to the VAT fraud amounting to nearly 4 billion rupees, be confiscated by the state. The decision was made by Colombo High Court Judge Kumuduni Vikramasinghe when the case was taken up. 9 of the 14 suspects in the case are overseas evading court. 3 of the 5 suspects pleaded guilty, while the former commissioner pleaded guilty on the 25th of April. Accordingly, he was ordered to pay a fine 3 times the amount that was found to have been defrauded. Court decided to confiscate the assets of the suspect due to his failure to comply with the court order to pay the fine within the stipulated time frame. 14 properties, a house in Colombo 2 and 38 bank accounts in 4 private banks were thus confiscated. The former Deputy Commissioner of the Inland Revenue Department, Jnanasiri Disoisa Jayatilaka, was also sentenced to 102 years in prison to be spent in 3 years.
The new premises of the Cultural and Language Centre of the French Embassy in Colombo, Alliance Francois de Côte, was declared open yesterday. The inauguration of the new premises in Colombo 5 was held under the auspices of the Ambassador of France to Sri Lanka, Jean-Paul Monchot, and Minister of Education, Bandula Gunawardena. The program of the French Spring Festival 2014, to be held in Colombo from the 19th of June to the 14th of July, presenting events in various artistic fields such as music, dance, cinema and photography, was also announced at a press conference held parallel to the inauguration. The French Spring Festival 2014 is a joint initiative of the Embassy of France, Alliance Francois de Côte and the Ministry of Culture and Arts. And moving on to sports news, Sri Lanka badminton champ Niluka Karunaratne has been eliminated from the Sri Lanka Open International Challenge 2014 when he failed to win his third round match. Sri Lanka International Challenge 2014, organised by the Badminton Association of Sri Lanka, is taking place at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium. Niluka battled it out today in the men's singles in the third round against H.S. Prenoy of India. Prenoy won the game in straight sets. However, Niluka's sibling Dinuka Karunaratne made it to the quarterfinals in the men's singles after defeating Samir Varma from India. Kasun Madhushka entered the third round for the men's single on default. Over 200 competitors from 17 nations are taking part in the Sri Lanka Open International Badminton Challenge 2014.
Well, that wraps up Friday night's edition of Primetime News. I'm Sonali Vanigabadage.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder that you can keep abreast of all the stories we're following here at Newsfirst by visiting our website newsfirst.lk. You can also follow us on Twitter at newsfirst_en. Have a pleasant weekend ahead. Good night and good luck.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.